What if the survival of the British monarchy, an institution founded on centuries of bloodlines, custom, and history, was being questioned not because of politics or conflict, but because of two people who transformed royal responsibility into a Netflix pitch? That's exactly where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have dragged the crown. The same pair who previously demanded the public respect their privacy somehow can't resist turning their life into a PR circus. It's a curious irony. While they've portrayed themselves as advocates of truth, their actions have provoked more confusion than answers. Now, the monarchy is facing a crisis, not from foreign forces, but from the very ones who were entrusted to defend its honor. Is this truly about their royal obligations? Or is it about developing a brand at the expense of centuries-old traditions? Meghan Markle didn't just enter the royal family. She strolled in like a Hollywood star, auditioning for the role of her life. With all eyes on her, she transformed royal life into a spectacle, with every action seemed scripted for maximum effect. Harry, the once loved prince, followed her out of the castle like a lovesick understudy, abandoning centuries of royal history for California photo opportunities and podcast agreements that no one asked for. What started as a quest to break away from the royal limelight swiftly transformed into a PR campaign for their own company. They portrayed themselves as victims, rebels, and contemporary saints, battling against an establishment they considered cruel. But in truth, all they've done is cash in on their royal title, skirting one important expectation: honesty. When it comes to the most essential aspect of all, their children, Meghan and Harry have offered nothing but silence, forced grins, and inconsistencies. While the world waited, eagerly expecting any glimpse into their family life, the pair opted to keep silent, fueling speculations instead of dispelling them. Meghan, the self-styled Duchess of Disruption, looked more concerned on building a flawless story than on the realities of royal responsibilities. What was intended to be an open family time became a well-curated, closed-door mystery. Meanwhile, Harry, once a carefree royal, seemed to condone the secrecy, keeping their children's actual origins veiled in question. The pair who formerly professed to respect privacy now looked to be using it as a shield, hiding behind it instead of embracing the same transparency needed from their family. And as the quiet grew, so did the whispers. Then, everything changed with Angela Levin's shocking announcement. A remark so stark, it sliced through the shiny picture Meghan and Harry had been meticulously building. Levin, a seasoned royal specialist, revealed a fact that millions had long believed but no one dared to voice. Archie and Lilith's parentage might not be as uncomplicated as the Sussexes would like the world to think. Levin didn't charge them with malice, she merely disclosed what was already circulating behind closed doors: whispers of surrogacy, secrecy, and deception. It wasn't simply a rumor, it was a direct challenge to the legitimacy of the Sussex children, and it placed the couple's empire of excuses on the edge of collapse. The timing couldn't have been worse. Just as they were striving to preserve their carefully managed image, the cracks began to appear. Levin's statements generated a torrent of inquiry, and suddenly, the couple who had demanded respect for their privacy were cornered by the exact thing they believed they could control: accountability. Harry's response to Levin's disclosure wasn't one of quiet thought or denial. Instead, he resorted to legal threats. Furious and defensive, he pledged litigation in an attempt to hush the mounting suspicion. But such threats didn't portray strength. They shouted desperation. What was once a regal prince, strong and unwavering, now seemed like a guy battling to keep his frail world intact. Instead of presenting proof or moving forward with openness, Harry resorted on the same legal techniques he has used in the past, hoping to dominate the narrative with threats rather than facts. But the irony of his conduct didn't go unnoticed. The world didn't gather around him with sympathy. Instead, they demanded, what is he hiding? A true leader, a secure parent, would have hushed the whispers with evidence. Yet Harry's reply, full of wrath but short of clarity, merely stoked the fire. Each legal threat he flung only appeared to corroborate what many were coming to believe: there was something to hide. As the quiet became greater, so did the public's misgivings. What had previously been a well-planned story of royal revolt now seemed more like a house of cards, teetering on the edge of collapse. The longer Meghan and Harry stayed tight-lipped, the louder the whispers got. The public, once intrigued by their narrative, began to demand answers. The suspicion regarding their children's legitimacy, once restricted to whispered rumors, was suddenly front and center. And while the royal couple failed to give openness, their trust began to deteriorate. What had begun as a war for privacy had turned into a full-blown crisis of legitimacy. People weren't simply doubting their family's tale, they were challenging the basic premise of the monarchy itself. With every unanswered question, Harry and Meghan found themselves painted into a corner, and their silence only served to reinforce the increasing mistrust. At the center of the theory was one basic thing: DNA. It became the indisputable test that may settle the circulating rumors once and for all. Yet, instead of confronting it head-on, Harry and Meghan handled it like kryptonite, avoiding it at all costs. The public, hungry for clarification, needed proof. They weren't asking for contrived photographs or another overproduced Netflix special. They wanted cold, hard evidence. DNA testing, medical records, clear confirmation of their children's origins. But the silence from the Sussex camp spoke loudly. Every time they skirted the subject, it just stoked the flames, making DNA into the emblem of reality they refused to confront. The monarchy has always been predicated on transparency. For centuries, royal women went out of the hospital with their kids in broad view, giving the people with an unambiguous proof of lineage. But Meghan, instead of following this tradition, handed the world a mystery. And Harry, instead of stepping in with the answers, seemed to fall deeper into secrecy, leaving the public to wonder why they couldn't simply offer the proof that would end all concerns. As the quiet drew on, the implications for Meghan and Harry became increasingly serious. Their failure to tell the truth wasn't simply a personal issue, it was threatening the entire core of royal legitimacy. The monarchy lives and dies on lineage, on the unbroken sequence of birthrights. And when that chain is put into question, the entire institution feels the shaking. Meghan, who previously portrayed herself as the contemporary face of the royal family, now seemed as the architect of its probable demise. Every time she declined to speak, people didn't see dignity. They saw guilt. The longer she and Harry delayed producing proof, the more the murmurs crystallized into public belief. This wasn't just about their children, it was about the future of the British monarchy itself. Without openness, every royal title Archie and Lilith had become a question mark, jeopardizing the monarchy's entire existence. In the end, it wasn't just their private lives on the line, it was the destiny of the throne. The stakes were considerably greater, as the possible legal ramifications loomed enormous. Angela Levin's revelation wasn't simply a personal attack, it was a direct challenge to the validity of Harry and Meghan's family and, by inference, the royal family itself. If the matter were to go to court, it might uncover truths that no royal family had ever been compelled to address publicly. Courtrooms don't bend to royal titles or celebrity status. They need evidence, receipts, and concrete facts, something Harry and Meghan have avoided offering. A court may push their secrets into the bright light of day, and the notion of that occurring must be their worst fear. And it wasn't just about one exam. Levin intimated she had more ammunition, more shocking truths waiting to be disclosed. As Harry struck aimlessly at the shadows of public opinion, the actual harm was unfolding right in front of him. Meghan and Harry had built their business on controlling the narrative, but suddenly, it appeared like they were watching it disintegrate, little by bit. At the core of this controversy lies a simple truth. The future of Archie and Lilith is no longer merely a private family affair. It has become a constitutional crisis, threatening to rip apart the fundamental structure of the British monarchy. The Sussexes' failure to confront the rising concerns regarding their children's origins further intensifies the issue. The monarchy, an institution established on centuries of continuous dissent, now confronts the very real danger of having its legitimacy questioned. Meghan's quiet isn't perceived as strength, it's viewed as intentional avoidance. Harry, long viewed as an adored prince, now appears like a guy desperately attempting to defend a fragile secret. As the whispers of illegitimacy become louder, the royal family's basis becomes more fragile. And if Parliament is ever compelled to act, the result may be catastrophic, not only for Harry and Meghan, but for the monarchy itself. With each unanswered question and every legal threat, the Sussex's empire begins to collapse, threatening to undermine the institution they once promised to serve. The destiny of the monarchy may very well rest on the truth that Meghan and Harry have yet to tell. And until then, the world will continue to watch and wait.